Hi everyone, and thanks for joining me for the chart reading for the full moon on June 24th, and it's going to be a full moon in the sign of Capricorn. This is Vickie, really the rock and roll prophetess. If you've never seen my station before or tuned in before, this is a psychic and intuitive reading, and it is astrology based, and I am definitely have studied astrology for many years, but I color outside the lines quite a bit. So if you are a very by the book astrologer, this might not be the reading for you. On the other hand, if you are not astrology wise at all, and you're like, this just looks like complicated mumbo jumbo, hang in there, because there's going to be a lot of intuitive stuff coming. As further we go along with the reading, the more intuitive stuff comes through. All right, so here it is. It's the full moon in Capricorn. So, of course, it's opposing the sun in Cancer. And this is just a few days after the solstice chart. So I've been looking at that solstice chart like crazy, because, of course, everybody's ordering the solstice reading, which if you're interested, that'll be available till the end of June. But a lot of the things that are in this chart are also in that solstice chart. But anyways, full moon in Capricorn. Let's start with that first. So full moon always illuminates. It brings things to culmination. It's a powerful time to start releasing. And my very strong feeling about this energy is, how, because we look at the negative, there's a positive and negative. I'm a Capricorn sun sign, so I'm not putting down Capricorns. There's a positive and negative expression of every single planet and every single, everything. There's always a positive and negative. It's not good or bad. It's just how you use the energy. And the negative side of Capricorn can be very much like controlling, very much workaholic, very much it's my way or the highway, the authoritarian, and things like that. So at this precipice of this full moon here, this is a time where we can look at those things and release it. How have I been too controlling? How have I worked myself too hard? How have I been too hard on others? How could what do I need to release in that area of our life? And that is something that can be initiated at this time. And there will be a lot of powerful energy to rid yourself of the negative connotations associated with the Capricorn energy. The full moon, though, also at the moment of this full moon, it's an illumination. So we go from, waxing to waning. So it's waxing, it hits the full moon, and then it's waning. The waning is the release, the waxing is the build-up, and then it's the big illumination at this time of this full moon. So we could become aware of how we could work better, how we could further our career opportunities. We could see that maybe we have overlooked because of, this month, the month of June has been quite tumultuous. I mean, it kicked off, it was actually the end of May with the eclipse season. We have the full moon eclipse in the end of May, then we have the solar eclipse on June 10th, and then we have the solstice. So there's a lot of really, really powerful shifts in energy, shifts in astrological vibrations going on over this last month. And so this can be like an opportunity to really ground, to really take a look at everything that's come up during all this eclipse and all this crazy stuff that's been going on here, and really kind of get a handle on it, really kind of get it all organized, really kind of get a, okay, well, there's all this stuff popping up and going crazy everywhere. Capricorn is like, come in, take charge, organize, utilize, I believe is the key phrase for the Capricorn energy. Utilize all the things, it's almost like what it's reminding me of, and what I'm being shown is like after violent storms, you go to the beach and all this stuff is washed up, all the sea glass and the driftwood, and, there's all this stuff all over the beach. And then, you'll see beachcombers, grabbing that stuff because they want to utilize it. They want to make, sea glass jewelry and, driftwood, sculptures or whatever. People are down there, going for it, going after it, and they want to use it. So that's kind of like after this astrological storm that we've been through, of all this, with all the things I just talked about there, what's left on the beach here? What's left? What's been on Earth, because it is an Earth sign, but what's come, landed on the shore of our consciousness or life, and what can we do with that? How can we use it to further our ambitions? Because you have the 10th houses and Capricorn, 10th house energy, Saturn, is really about a lot about ambition. Now I heard that when I said ambition, I heard it's actually, I think, tradition, right? Tradition, ambition. What is that from? Fiddler on the Roof. Tradition. Well, you know, Saturn and Capricorn is also that. It's tradition, for sure. So maybe that's why they were singing it that way, to bring it through. Yeah, tradition. Traditional. But it seems like we're in a time when we're really wanting to break with traditional. So it could also, Saturn Capricorn energy is very much about establishing a good foundation. I always say Saturn rules the bones in your body. And you need, you know, the bones in your body are hard, you know, and they're hard, and it's not malleable, it's hard and rigid, it can be rigid, but it's also very much needed. It's the structure. It rules structure. Without our bones in our body, we would be a big mush of organs and flesh on the ground, you know, so we definitely need structure. There's always, you know, we need it. So Saturn can bring that about. It can make us aware of structures that we want to establish going forward, you know, or because we're just coming off of that powerful new moon eclipse and the solstice, which is also a powerful new beginning thing. So it can make us aware of that, but it also can be about releasing structures and rigidity and things that no longer serve us, you know, that just no longer serve us. All right, speaking of old Saturn there, we've got Saturn opposed Mars. This is also, it's in a T-square with Uranus. In the solstice chart, we have a grand cross with the moon in Scorpio, but that's not happening on this day. So this is bringing up some friction and some tension. Saturn is the old structure, but yet it's in the sign of Aquarius, so it wants to break free. Squaring with Uranus, the sign of wanting to break free. Opposing the Mars, but Saturn opposed Mars can be some, you know, can be a little bit of a, you know, that can really bring up some conflicts. You know, I always say with the Mars and Saturn, like with the Capricorn, it was a Capricorn thing, I already forgot, but when you look at the rulership, you know, Saturn is Capricorn, which is the goat, and then we look at Mars as Aries, is the ram. Oh, that's when Uranus was squaring Saturn back in Aries. That's what, Saturn was squaring Uranus back in Aries. I was bringing this up. These are both horned creatures. The point is, here it is, that they're both horned creatures. And they butt heads. Rams butt heads, goats butt heads, you know. So it can very much be a butting of heads here, you know, going on with Saturn and Mars. It's in Leo, a 5th house of fun and romance, and 11th house of Aquarius, 11th house of hopes, wishes, and dreams, friends and associates, groups you belong to. It feels to me like, you know, wanting to break free, because the 5th house is definitely breaking, want to be childlike, want to have fun, want to do what I want to do, want to have enjoyment of life, where the Saturn energy is very much about, well, we got, you know, we got responsibility. There's responsibilities you have to take care of, and there's things that have to be done, and it's got to be done in an orderly way, and, you know, Leo's it's just like, hey, and then Mars is this maverick energy too, you know, ruler of Aries. They just want to go for it. So there's that going on. And then Uranus is not a stabilizing factor at all. You know? Because sometimes if there's other things involved, it's like, well, this could help. This could be the stabilizing factor. No, not at all. Uranus is, you know, just a total wild card. You know, it's just totally out there. It's not about settling anything. It's about keeping everything really fluid and free and, you know, progressing. It's progressive. Now, the Saturn itself is involved in some other stuff here. Notably, it's trining the North Node. So Saturn trining the North Node is a really strong, powerful thing, because the North Node is always our true north. It's where we're supposed to go from a higher energetic, esoteric level, from a higher spiritual soul path level. And when I do those soul readings, that's what I look at. Saturn I look at too. You know, there's several things that I look at to kind of hone in on your past lives and your soul, you know, journey. So it's trining the North Node. So it can really give a solidity, is that a word? It can really solidify pathways to achieving our higher goal as a collective and as an individual. And interestingly, there's an exact, almost dead on exact, if you look at this, it's 10 degrees, 41, 49 minutes, the North Node with Lilith at this time. So Lilith is always about the being empowered, about speaking up, speaking out for what you believe in, you know, holding true to your principles, holding true to your respecting yourself, you know. Lilith was way ahead of her time as far as that goes. She did not want to be subservient to Adam. You know, she was like, no, that's bullshit. And, you know, the thing is, it wasn't like she was like, well, Adam, you will be subservient to me. No, she just wanted equality. You know, she wasn't trying to be powerful over him. She wanted, you know, more of a true partnership. And even though Libra is more the sign of partnership, I always think of Gemini as a partnership sign because of the twins. You know, it's the sign of the twins, and they work together. They come into the earth together. They're birthed together. So we're birthing, you know, together with the collective, but possibly, you know, a partnership of some sort. But in the sign of Gemini, I feel like it's really about like speaking your truth. It's about really speaking your truth, and I feel like, you know, mountains can be moved, or they're really showing me big boulders. Big boulders could be moved in this process. Long-standing, you know, things that have been in place for a very long time that are old school, old paradigm, maybe there could be a little bit of talk, enlightenment, things of this nature. It's squaring with the Uranus, and in the sign of Aquarius, also helping that, also helping budge Saturn out of its. It's not fixed, but it you know, technically it's a cardinal sign, but you know, there's a very fixed vibe. You know, so I think of Saturn as somewhat of a fixed energy. Definitely can be some stubbornness going on with that. There's also a Venus opposed Pluto here. This is another thing that's going on. Venus opposed Pluto is very powerful too, also going on at the time of the solstice. Well, you know, it could be some kind of major love thing. That's immediately what I think, you know. And with, you know, if you fall in love under a Pluto aspect, I mean, expect don't expect it to be a fairy tale after. It's probably very passionate, but it could be very disruptive to your life. But that's not necessarily, being disruptive to your life isn't necessarily a bad thing. You know, some of our biggest soul growth, and what I was just saying about getting, you know, getting unstuck out of old paradigm things, Venus opposed Pluto could bring somebody into your life like that, if that's, depending on where it's hitting in your chart, you know. In this case, though, also Venus and Pluto is money, big money, and Venus is money too. So there could be some kind of big breakthroughs with some kind of big financial things. Especially, again, if this is hitting in your natal chart, there could be some sort of, you know, some kind of big financial breakthrough, windfall. You know, finances could be disrupted, but maybe not necessarily in a bad way, you know, with the Venus involved especially. Now, the sun, I was looking at the sun. Oh, yeah, another good thing back to the sun moon, where that's the full moon energy is happening. Jupiter's involved in this. I mean, pretty close, right? It's the closest thing is to Jupiter there. Jupiter's trining the sun, and that's a really, really beautiful energy, Jupiter trining the sun. And Jupiter's trining the sun. There's a grand trine in water, again, with that Scorpio energy at the time of the solstice. But Jupiter trining the sun, you know, that's really, really positive. It brings, Jupiter always expands and makes more, and trine is such a harmonious, energetic exchange, or you know, aspect, that, you know, the Jupiter trine the sun is so favorable and beautiful that really beautiful things could happen. And it's sextiling this full moon energy too. So Jupiter in expansive Pisces, creativity, imagination, psychic abilities, psychic insights, downloads, all sorts of things of this nature are possible at this time. Chiron is also almost exactly squaring, or yes, no, sextiling, excuse me, sextiling the Saturn at this time. So great healing can take place, you know. if we can get past this Mars energy, if we can, the Chiron, great healing can take place if we're not so in the mode of battling and opposition and in this conflictual. I don't know if that's a word, but in this, involved in the conflict. Sextiles are like can be kind of subtle energy, though. It's not, in oppositions and squares, you usually make you stand up, and take notice. But with the sextile, it's much more subtle. It's much more, if you're not paying attention, and same with trines too, it could just pass you by. Just like, oh, I'm just having a beautiful day today and everything's lovely. That's great. But if you kind of utilize that and really go deeper into it and really, use it, because we always want to use it, we always want to use it or utilize this energy. That's the whole point, I think, of looking into the astrology. It's not letting it have its way with you. It's you harnessing the energy of it and using it to your highest good and your best advantage. So utilizing that Chiron energy with Saturn, we can have the healing, we can have the breakthroughs, and with the Saturn, it can have long-term effects. We can establish new ways of dealing and coping and being that will be long. Because a lot of times we oh yeah, we have these big enlightenments, we're turning over a new leaf, and then, it wears off a lot of times. We have these big epiphanies and whatnot, and then it's like, oh, then we kind of fall back into these old patterns, and that's definitely the realm of Saturn, falling into the old patterns. So with this part of it, with the Saturn and Chiron, we could maybe establish, and with the disruptiveness of the Mars opposition. I'm seeing that they're showing me, we interrupt your regularly scheduled program. Because it's programming, and that's a lot of the Gemini thing too. So, our regularly running program or self-talk is being disrupted. And that opens that crack so the light can get in, from the Cohen. So the light can shine through. And then, a new, there's opportunity for new light to shine through, new ways of being to come into the picture, and that could be so positive and favorable. Let's see here. Let me check the aspect here. Over here, and we'll see if we've missed anything, because inevitably, it seems like I always do miss things. Oh, Venus is trining Neptune. Yeah, that's a beautiful energy too. Yeah, it's trining Neptune, and Pluto's sextiling Neptune. So Venus and Neptune together is huge creativity. It's enlightenment. It's definitely, it's downloads, psychic downloads. What I'm getting is new ways of looking at things. Oh, by the way, I have this thing here too. For those of you who watched the last one, I was getting that vision. I was doing that little sketch about getting the downloads from the thing. So I went in and I did it. Let me zoom out for a minute here. I did it a much better way. I kind of went in my sketchbook and fleshed it out a little better here. And then by the time I said this is the point, I had these rainbows, and then they were turning into diamonds, and then they turned into, well, what I saw it was as like a card of a computer, old-time computer, but somebody mentioned in the comments, which is true, they said a player piano, but also inside of music boxes, they have those little things that, they have holes in them, and it plays music. But at that time they said it was the point of transformation, and then I've got the point of interpretation, and then as I was drawing it, I got, this is the point of infusion, where pure psychic energy, it has to transform into data, into bits and data, almost like you would feed a computer. And then it goes, I'm showing it being downloaded into the crown chakra, but, it could be, whatever, however you pick it up. And that's very much the energy of this, this Venus-Neptune. This is Venus-Neptune energy all day long, this is getting those downloads. And I mean, the downloads are always there. These colors and these rainbows, they're always flying around, and they're, the universe is always broadcasting. And that was my original intent with my YouTube channel, was the broadcast from the universe. The universe is always broadcasting. But us being able to tune in and kind of pick it up, that's always, that's the trick. That's the thing. So, with this beautiful Venus-Neptune trine, and the Pallas in there too, because Pallas is very much in the mental mind, thinking of new ways of implementing tools and thinking of new ways. She was a warrior also, but she was an inventor. And I always feel like Pallas is more of a mental mind thing. And, she was, very much an inventor. And so thinking... It's this energy, that's this bringing this point of infusion. That's what can happen when we're looking at, this kind of stuff. I also had to put in the clouds, because lately, I don't know, the clouds have just been, I don't know if there's UFOs in there, like a lot of people, but the clouds have really been catching my eye, and I'm really noticing those clouds. And I do feel, I don't know if there's three-dimensional ships actually in there, but there's definitely some kind, I forget what the guide said about it. They said something, what was it, about the clouds. They said because it has, I asked about it one time, and they said because it has, it consists of matter, that it is used to infiltrate the 3D realm or something of that nature. Yeah, they're not really saying like that you need like 3D ships or something like that. Actually, I wanted to, speaking of that, because I was doing channeling yesterday, I meant to, let me try to pull it up. I got my phone here and I can hopefully get to it. Yeah, yesterday I was doing, because I usually do the mid-month channeled message, and it was like 6 pages, because I haven't been there in so long. I haven't gone to channel for so long, because what happened was my favorite spot that I go to channel by the lake, it's really secluded, and a lot of people really went there. Maybe they knew about it, but nobody ever went there. So I could always have my quiet time there. Well, they found it, and they're building all these bike paths, and they built this big bridge, so now it's just swamped with people all the time. So it's kind of like, I mean, that's great. I mean, it's a public space. I can't really claim it, but it's just kind of, it kind of took away my secluded little spot that I went to. So it was kind of bummed me out a little bit. So I haven't been going as much, and I haven't been in a month. I actually haven't been in a month. And so what happened was I was there, and I had every intention of doing the mid-month channeling session for everybody. And it ended up being, 6 pages of just my personal stuff. Because usually I'll do like the channeling for the book, or, when I post some of that on the website, on YouTube. And then, I ask a couple questions about myself. And it ended up just being, 6 pages of me. But this last part I wanted to read. It's a message for me, but it's good. I think everybody should, it's good for everybody. It says, take your place at the table of riches promised in your pre-incarnational countenance. Shine your light as was intended. Follow your soul's calling. Be the undeniable you. I love that part. Be the undeniable you. Yeah, that part is like so cool and so true, for everybody. And I think that's a lot of with the Chiron and Aries and with the Mars and this Leo thing here. It's being the undeniable you. Not changing yourself to be because of conventional opinions or whatever the case may be there. Be the undeniable you. And at this time of this Capricorn full moon, it's like we can become aware of that. We can, and just because you're going to be the free spirit, or when you think of undeniable you, I think of the free spirit. I think of this 5th house and the Leo and everything. But just because you're going to be the undeniable you doesn't mean that you can't use and utilize the structures that be. I mean, there are constraints, and they can be, constrictive. They're constricts, but it's the bones in the body again. They're the building blocks. They're the foundations for, building blocks for what you want to do in this 3D reality. We are spirits in the material world, right? Like Sting said. So we are spirits, but we are in the material world. So we have to work with and utilize. I utilize Capricorn energy. We have to utilize the tools that are available to us in this thing. I'm still looking. I have pulled this up on my phone about the no, I didn't say play upbeat music. No, I didn't say any of this. This phone is a mind of its own. I don't know if I can pull it back. It's like trying to talk to me. But yeah, but this take your place at the table of riches that was promised in your pre-incarnational countenance. The table of riches isn't necessarily financially. I mean, that's a lot of times that'll be the first thing that comes to mind for people. But the table of riches is a table of richness of life. The table of, doing, I mean, the riches are, health, wealth, and happiness. It's all of those things. It's not just, the table of riches with a big pile of cash on it. A man or a woman who has, their health and they have love in their life, whether it's family or your pets or friends, those are riches. Those are the riches I'm sure that's what they were saying, because I was looking at that, because I'm still on the I had the phone over here, sitting over there. I'm just like, people are going to look at that riches and think that it's just riches as far as money goes. And that can be a Capricorn kind of slant that you put on things. But no, that's not what it's all about. The table of riches is, the riches of your life, enjoying your life to the fullest. Your pre-incarnational, it says your pre-incarnational countenance, which I'm not really sure if that word's right, but I gave up on changing words. I just write what they tell me. But more or less your pre-incarnational plan, and that's getting back to these nodes. These are our pre-incarnational plans. And of course, this Chiron with the South node is very powerful for purging a lot of these deep wounds at this time. You're going to have the building blocks to do whatever the F you want to do. Whatever you want to do. The building blocks. Capricorn full moon can show you, illuminate and show you the way, show you the building blocks that are available to you. It's not about fighting against, I'm hearing fighting against the machine, okay? But it's not about that. It's about using what's here. I utilizing the tools that are right there in front of you to create the life you want and take your place at the table of riches promised in your pre-incarnational, countenance is what they're saying. That doesn't seem right, but I know that's what they said. Shine your light as was intended, follow your soul's calling, and be the undeniable you. Yes. All right, everybody. So that is the reading. I am still offering that the solstice reading. So if you're interested in that, I don't have any of my examples of my the artwork on the journals, but a lot of you seem to like those. Those are available. Check that out if you're interested. By purchasing my various ways, things that I sell, various wares, and that all goes towards supporting this channel and keeping things free for you to watch these videos year after year. And keeps things rolling on my end, And there's many things you can do that don't cost anything, just to help support me and get my videos out there through the YouTube algorithm, like by liking and sharing and commenting. And if you enjoy my content, please do hit that subscribe button. All right, so don't forget about the solstice reading. Got a couple more weeks on that. If you want to get the soul reading and look into your own karma, that's also another astrology reading. But I have all sorts of different readings. But I feel like probably most of the people who are watching this are a little bit more leaning towards the astrology, so those are the astrology readings that I do have. The soul reading is always available, and then I also have the Tapestry of Life mandalas. That does not. I always want to call them mandalas. I know that it's pronounced mandalas, but for some reason I always want to say mandalas. But whatever. Those are also available, and I have that and other artwork that I do create from your chart. I have that, and I have the astroglyphs, and I have the, there's that other one, I don't know what I call it, but it's like a collage-y thing with all the elements of your chart in there. It's pretty cool too. And then I use the background image for those, I use the actual Hubble image of whatever your main element. So say your Capricorn sun, I would use maybe Saturn as the background image, and then, you know, I layer all these different images on top of it. It's also pretty cool. So I got lots of different stuff. If any of it interests you, I have books and decks and all sorts of things. Please do check it out. You can find all the links below. There's no need to contact me with questions about how to order or what I have. Just please do check the description below before you do any of that. And remember that you are Love and Beauty Incarnate. Please hit the subscribe button and to help me. It doesn't cost anything to subscribe, like, and share and comment. This helps the algorithm put me back in the mix. I am not the original YouTube astrologer. I am the original YouTube tarot reader, but I am one of the early ones. I'm one of the very early ones. There was just a handful of astrologers on YouTube when I started, so I am, you know, one of the OG YouTube metaphysical people, and kind of been getting lost in the shuffle lately. So if you enjoy my content, please do, you know, do some of that stuff to trigger that algorithm. It would be highly appreciated. Remember, you are Love and Beauty Incarnate. Have a great full moon in Capricorn, and I'll talk to you soon. Okay, bye.